Hi guys, how's everyone today? We're getting towards the end of our school year. We've really covered so much material this year. I hope you've enjoyed the videos we've been going through and the lessons that you've been learning, different tools you can use in your classroom. Always feel free to ask me questions, post them on the YouTube stream or email me, post them on our CSG stream if you're part of that. Let me introduce myself in case you're new to our activities. My name is Jackie Murray. I have been teaching K through 8 technology for about 15 years. I've been teaching K through 16 for about 35 years. I've moved around a little bit, but my last 15 have been in technology. I absolutely love it. It is the future of education. It is where students can find all sorts of ways that they will love to learn. I've never seen students more excited about learning than I do when technology is used well in the classroom to reinforce the learning. So I'm very excited about that. And I love talking to you all and find out how you're using it in your classroom and what really stands out as a tool for you that gets students excited. I teach online. I coach and mentor. I do a lot of videos like this all over the place. I work with schools and districts and even individual teacher groups, grade level groups, to align technology with their school curriculum, state, local standards, whatever they need. I give a lot of seminars at schools during their staff development days on topics of interest to them, Google Apps or organizing a class for technology, different things like that. So I really enjoy going out and meeting everyone and seeing how your classroom runs as opposed to where I teach. I have a little bubble. We all do. We teach in our little bubble and we assume the whole world goes like that, but it really doesn't. So I spend a lot of time getting out there, finding out what's going on with all of you. So today we're going to talk about class warm-ups. Those activities that students do when they walk through your door, and usually too often that first few minutes, they're just lost minutes. Students sit down, they chatter, they get comfortable, they get relaxed into a new classroom, and it takes 5 or 10 minutes before you finish up whatever you were working on, and then they get to your students, and then they get their books out or turn their computers on or whatever they're doing, and it all just takes a lot of time. Students need downtime. Not meant to say that they don't. They do need that time where they're going from history to technology or history to math. But they don't need as long as they're getting, usually as long as they end up taking. Usually that's because we're all getting organized. So what you want to do is make that time when they walk in the classroom an automatic time where once they come through the door of your classroom, they're ready to learn. They know what they're going to do. Sometimes I post it on the smart screen. They walk in the door and their head goes right there and they're reading off the smart screen. What am I doing first? Okay, keyboarding. So they sit down, they have their 30 seconds or 1 minute of getting everything organized, and then they start. Or I might say whatever I say. That is class warm-up. And you want it as student-centered, student-directed, as independent for students as possible. You want it to get them into whatever your class is, in my case, technology. So I want them to leave behind the paper and pencil and, okay, we're not doing that now. I'm going to pull out my iPad and use Notability for my notes now, or Google Apps, or whatever it is. So you want them to make that transition and be ready to learn with you. That's the idea of a class warm-up. The nice part for you is you can finish whatever you're doing. You don't have to feel like, okay, I got to drop everything because the students need me to tell them what to do. They don't need you to do that. They are used to it. They're comfortable with it. They figure, oh, good, I can goof off till teacher starts telling me what to do. It's that sort of a thing, but they really don't need you to put your paper and pencils down and stop grading your papers and finish an email. They need you to trust them, give them independence. This, you know what you're going to do when you walk through the door, so take care of it. There's a lot of ways we can do that, and we're going to go over some of them today. We're going to list them all in a new program I came across, because I like to show you programs I'm using for my classroom. This one is called Smore. It's to make flyers, that sort of thing. And I'm going to put our list of activities on here. So I've got my account set up. Here's me. If you're an educator, you get a free pro account. You can't use it for commercial purposes. You can't sell anything you make on it. You can't talk about selling stuff on them, but you can use them for flyers, for meetings, for events, for whatever you have, parent signups, things like that. Or you can have a personal account that allows you a certain limited access. Okay, so that's all I have. What you're going to see here is what I have on my personal account. I didn't even set up an educator account. So I'm going to design a flyer, and I'm going to not go there. I'm going to start a new flyer, and I think I'll do class, and it's going to be class warm-ups. I don't know how many. Let's say 5 minutes. That's all you want. 5 minutes to get the class going. Okay. On this one, I can pick a variety of options. Depends upon what you want to do. I haven't tried all of these, so I think I'll try one of these I haven't done. I like Blossom. Let's try that one. Okay. So our first one is going to be keyboarding. I probably won't write much in here. Keyboarding. Start your class with keyboarding. Let them walk in the class, and they know that they have a software that you use. Maybe you use Type to Learn or all the right type. Maybe they go to Dance Mat Typing if they're younger. They go automatically, they walk in class, they get settled for 30 seconds, and then they start keyboarding. That probably you want to make it 10 minutes. Usually I'd say the class warm-up stops at about 5 minutes, but maybe 10 minutes if you're going to do keyboarding, because you want them to be able to get into it. What you want to do, you want to be able to continue whatever you're doing, and it might be walking around observing them keyboarding also, but you want the students to take as much responsibility as possible. So you're going to have one student who is in charge of the timer, and that student, you can decide how you want the student to time class warm-ups. Very easy to do. They'll be the one who goes up to the class smart screen. They type timer into Google search. It has your timer, and if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'll leave it at 5 for now, and they push start. That's going to show on the class smart screen. Students are going to see that ticking off up there. They're going to know exactly how long they have to work until, okay, we're done with that. We're moving on to the meat of our class, whatever that might be. You want this student directed. You don't want to be the one that has to go do it. You keep an eye on it, especially for your younger kids. And you can say, Joey, you didn't set our timer. Joey, why don't you go set our timer? And help them make sure that they remember. You might go around the class. You might have one person for a week. Whatever you decide is a good way to do it is a good way. There's no rules on that, but you want this as student directed as possible. So someone's going to set that timer, and it's going to tick down, and when the time's up, everyone's going to know, believe me, or you can have Joey or whoever set the timer say time's up, and then you go on to the rest of the class. Class warm-up is done. So keyboarding is a really good one to do. Another one you might have is the presentation boards. If you are, I'm going to cover that up, it's going to distract me. If you are working on presentation boards, maybe you used our presentation our lesson plan that had the 3 different presentation boards. You have problem solving, where the students take turns sharing, teaching each other how to solve problems. You have the Google Earth board, where they take a location they visited in the class and show students how they can find it on Google Earth and then share some amazing fact about it. And you have Speak Like a Geek, where they will take a domain-specific word and define it for the class, teach students its definition by using it in a sentence, by explaining it in grade appropriate terms. So one of those boards, you'll do 3 of them a class, and that usually takes about 5 minutes. So it's very non-threatening for students. They'll get settled, they'll be ready to start. Now, granted, you won't be able to work through that 5 minutes, but that's not our goal of the class warm-ups. Our goal is to let the students get class started, to know how class is going to start, what's going to happen, so they take charge of their own learning. They'll take charge of you too. Once they're ready to start, you put your stuff aside and you're listening, grading the presentation, whatever it might be. So presentation boards are a great class warm-up. And it does let students, they're listening first and then they're asking questions, so they're getting into the mode of what's going on in class. Another really good, oops, let's put that on our list. So that's that one, and I'm going to say done there. And I could put a picture there. I will before I post it on our stream. I'll get a keyboarding picture there. So I don't particularly want any of these. So let's get rid of, I don't need an every day. I don't need a top instructors. I don't need that with the instructors. So I'm just going to get rid of them. Guaranteed to be relaxing and fun. That might be fun. Frequently asked questions. I think I can do that. And I'll go, instead of that, we're going to do presentation boards. Okay, and that's done. I'll find a picture to go along with that. Nice thing about this is it'll switch pictures from one side to the other. So that's good. This one up here I can switch a little bit. I like that, whichever one I like. Okay. Our next one is the evidence board. I'm going to get rid of this too. This could be for our class. Maybe I'll leave that. Okay. Text is what I want to put. So now I'm going to do evidence. That's our next one. And that is a very fun one. So I'll show you this. I want a picture, but I'm not sure which side I want it on. So I'll put it there, and that's the right side. Evidence board is where you have a board on the wall in your classroom, and you share once a month. You go around the classroom and let students share how they use their technology knowledge outside of class. Let me see if I can find one. Here's all my pictures. And I think it's probably under E for evidence. Evidence board. Right here. Oh, that's not them. This one. So I just want to see how it's set up. I just put a big board on the wall. And then I have the grade levels. In this case, this is the board for 4th and 5th. I give them these little flyers, which are in a little pocket down here, and they fill them out when they tell me what they're doing, and then I say, sounds good, and they fill them out, and then we put them up here. So this is by class. We kind of did it as a competition, but that's not a big deal. And they grew. And by the time the year was up, we had them going all around the classroom, which was very effective for them to see how much they use their skills outside of class. So that's a very fun one. It doesn't take very long. You have to set some guidelines so that you can only go around a table. We were in tables, so go around the table once. I don't go back to the table when someone suddenly remembers. They have to save it for next time. And it's quick. And I don't accept them all. So they really have to be using. I got to the point where I was saying what we learned last week, because they'd have so many. of them. So we got to, okay, only what you learned last week. How did you use that outside of class? So evidence board is a really good way to do a class warm-up. Okay, did we write that down? Let's see. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Too much stuff. Did we write evidence board? We got presentation board, evidence board. We did. So the next one we're going to add is if you use blogs in your class, commenting on classmate posts is a really good one to start class with. This is particularly effective. Let me put this up here where it belongs, and let's done there, and we'll done there. And I want a picture on that one. Okay. Oh, but I want it on the other side. This is particularly effective if you're running a flipped classroom, because then the students they did work the night before to prepare for class. And part of that work might have been writing a blog post. So then they'll start class by commenting on those blog posts of classmates. You might have done a blog post as journaling or some other reason in your class, especially with 4th, 5th, and up. Those classes are much more likely to be using blogs. So this is a chance for 5 minutes to go in and comment on 2 or 3 posts of friends in class. It's a nice way to get back into what was doing, and it's very effective. Blog posts without comments aren't nearly as effective as when a conversation gets going, when collaboration and feedback occurs on the blog posts. So those are very, very important, and this is a great way to take care of that step. Besides the blog post, you might have a discussion item. They might have done something for homework, preparing for class if it's a flipped classroom, or maybe a project they worked on the prior class if you didn't flip your classroom. And you put a discussion board question up that has to do with that topic. Or it might be a discussion board topic that has to do with some other class as a blended learning between the 2 classes. Give them that 5 minutes. Okay, go find our discussion boards and comment on the discussion item. And you have 5 minutes to do it. It could be discussion board, could be a forum, could be a blog post you do that they all comment on. It could be a whole bunch of things. It could be Twitter, where they have to go on Twitter and use a hashtag for our hashtag science project. And then use your unique name so that the hashtag only goes to comments from your classmates. And it'll all go on the Twitter stream. Any way you want, as long as it's that sort of feedback and collaborative learning. Okay, sponge activities are good too. There are times where what you really want them to do is have time to go to some of the websites that tie in with the inquiry they're doing in class. So I have askatechteacher. Oh, no, I did that wrong. protopage.com/askatechteacher. So they'll have their page here on your internet start page. Yours may not look like mine. I like this one just because it's got all the tabs here. And then they'll go to their grade level, and you'll say you can go to any of the websites you want that are on bookmarks or that are under landforms or whatever it is for 5 minutes. That's all they get, 5 minutes. And that's great because the students will want to go to the websites and they will be buried in their 5 minutes of work. So then you can finish up whatever you're doing, then walk around and observe and make sure good digital citizenship is going on, and just see how they're doing as part of your teacherly duties. Okay, so that's a really good one too, just sponge activities. Sometimes that's what you want to do, those fun things. The last item, oops, I think I'm behind. So let's see where. So I'm going to have commenting on classmate blogs and sponge activities. Okay. think that one has to have, there we go, sponge activities. And the last one is going to be those activities you do that are part of your responsive classroom. If you do responsive classroom in your school, then you know what I'm talking about. There will be activities that sometimes they're sitting in a circle and talking about things and other things that don't work well for us, but there will be some that work well for technology. So that sort of activity is a good one there. That's what responsive classroom activities are designed for, is to get things started. So that's another very good one to use. Whatever you use in responsive classroom. So I'll just put it in there as a wide open topic. Whatever you normally use in your responsive classroom activities, that could be, as long as it's tweaked towards the technology thing. So those are our ideas. So I'm going to beautify this a little bit and turn it into a flyer for us and post it on our class stream, and then you will be able to comment on it. I promise I won't spend very long on it because I want you to see how easy it is. Adding a picture, I'm just going to click here, and then I have pictures that I've saved, so I'll find one and I'll put it in there, and I'm going to add that, and I think I'll change this. What should I say here? Guaranteed to be relaxing and fun. Guaranteed to get how about get class started with tech? Who knows? I'll go for that for now. I could put a link there too if I wanted. Okay. And then I'll have the activities here. And then they have all this other stuff down here, which I could use. I could embed something. Once I'm done, I'm going to show you what happens once I'm done. I'll go back in and edit it. But then I can share it all these ways, which if I did this with the class as notes on something in the class, then I would then want to share it on our class Twitter stream so they could all see it. Because they'd get a kick out of that to see. And the embedding, I would want to embed that in the blog so they could see how quick and easy it is to embed items. Okay, that's our class warm-ups. I got a lot more to talk to you about. We've got a couple more general topics. I hope you join me for class exit tickets, which I'm going to do today. And I also have a webinar on Twitter coming up that ties very well into class exit and class warm-ups. All right, guys, it's been fun. I will see you next webinar. Have a great week. Bye.